When life happens, it happens. Usually, we ask ourselves, why is it happening to me? However, I learned that it happened for me when it happened. I was in the middle of writing my final year law exams when my husband died in a car crash. I went into a deep, dark hole. Because the accident happened in November, I had to write exams in January. After writing the final paper, I broke down, I sobbed, and I was saying, I have failed, I have failed. What took everybody by surprise was that my exam papers had not been marked, but I was sobbing, literally saying, I have failed. Do you know what was happening? The thoughts just took over, and I associated with those thoughts and believed that it was reality. To cut a long story short, I passed the exam, but I am sharing this personal tragedy so that, particularly for some of us who are way beyond 40 and 50 and 60 and 70, to share with those who will still be going through some challenging times or tragedies. I am Linda. So, sharing the dark night of the soul that I went through is not meant to depress you. I learned valuable and lasting lessons. However, it was a process I wouldn't wish to anybody, but I learned lasting lessons. There was a time when, because I had been a student, I was penniless. And I remember one day when I opened the mail and I looked at the statement from the university. It was saying that I had a credit balance, but I didn't believe my eyes. I then asked my sister to read and verify. She confirmed that I had a very lucrative credit balance. It's amazing how life can actually hold us tenderly when we are going through a dark time. And you are one of those people that I am talking to, that when life happens, it's amazing how we are cushioned like children and we take it one step at a time. There were times when I would ask myself, who am I? Why is this happening to me? Will I ever smile? Answers gradually came. I learned that my essential being, when all is gone, the beloved is gone, materially, financially, there are challenges. I learned that I am love. My true nature, it's the nature of love. I would literally talk to myself as if I was talking to a baby, consoling myself, as if I was singing a lullaby to myself. The little baby was in me, and I guarantee the same applies to you. There is a child there. There is a child that is longing for security, for tenderness. That is your true nature. Your true nature is not fear. Your true nature is assurance that it is fine. All is well, until the emotions that wail, that want to drown you in sorrow, dissipate. I also learned how important it was to actually feel my emotions. I learned that particularly grief, it would go down, it would go up. I would be fine today, the following day, I hit a dip and feel very sad and lost. There are people who go through such a phase where you would find that sadness overwhelms you today, but the important thing is to know that the sadness is going to dissipate, that you'll be fine. So it became very important for me. Whenever I woke up, I would spend quite time feeling myself. And what was very important was that I learned that, particularly in the morning, there is a measure of clarity, there is a measure of feeling secured. My emotions would give me comfort. I kept on repeating those morning practices of feeling my emotions, assuring myself that it's going to be fine. So I was taking life one day at a time. And I encourage you, if you are going through a bad patch, to get up in the morning, quietly feel your emotions, remind yourself that it's going to be fine, that the day is just going to be fine. What was also helpful as I was asking myself why life was happening to me, I literally would imagine qualifying as a lawyer, doing the things that I am dreaming about. The imagination would literally change my mood. And it worked. Like a child, I would literally have those imageries. I would even I would remember the joyful moments I had experienced with my late husband, and I would smile. I would remember the funny things about him and not be sad and smile. So life was reminding me that I am more than my experience. I am more than the feeling of sadness. And that was beautiful. I treasure it. But I had to remind myself every day as I was going through the process of grieving. Another lesson that I learned, it was to repeat these little things that I am sharing with you. Repetition. Because as I have indicated, I would say, today I'm fine. And the following day, there will be a dip. I'll be sad. You know what I learned? Repetition. Repetition, day after day, week after week. And then it became a habit that I internalized to such an extent that whatever heavy cloud I would be going through, I knew it would soon be gone. I learned to remember without tears. I learned to remember with joy, with gratitude. I would even remember that there are people who were in a worse off situation than myself. I was a budding professional. Some people didn't have the gift that I had. So the repetition was very important because I was being reminded. And as I was being reminded, I was expanding, I was growing. And that is why I am sharing this experience with confidence today, so that if you go through this video, if you watch this video, be assured that everything is fine. Healing is a process. Growth is a process. And it is a process that is not external. It is a process that is internal. And that is very important because I was anchored by inner growth. I was anchored by inner spiritual growth. After all, the outside world had collapsed. I'm a very bookish person. I love reading. I love working with words. I took solace to reading books that were encouraging. I chose C.S. Lewis, Abraham Hicks, and those books, the spiritual books, were very nourishing and self-empowering because I needed to hold on to something. So what I'm suggesting is that you do not necessarily need to find authority and trust in books. Do find something that anchors you when you are all alone, something that nourishes your inner self, that is an authority that you trust. So for me, I used to hang around in bookshops. And what was interesting was that I would be led to a book that answers or that talks to me on certain matters. I treasured that. I would buy a book, go home and tuck into it as if I am talking to a friend. I do hope that with you, you also find something you would consider as an authority when you are going through a dark patch, because it does anchor us. I would get up in the morning, spend half an hour to myself, and I would walk. I would just walk. The early morning walks were very relaxing. I just forgot about everything. I would just walk. I ended up looking forward to peeping through the window when I wake up just to check how the weather was. I became very attuned to the weather because the connection was very special. The connection, whenever I walked, was soothing. It was nourishing. And finally, it became a habit. I just love morning walks. I love it if the area is lush and the air is fresh in the morning. I love it. That was another habit that became a habit when I was going through a challenging time. Finally, the experience I have just described nurtured something very special, and I'm sharing it with you, living with joy. The fact that our inner nature, deep down, it is a joy. It's a nature of joy. It's a nature of love, of freedom, of celebration. I don't think I would be where I am today had I not gone through that challenge. Therefore, let us embrace challenges, particularly for us who are well over 40s and 50s and 60s. We are a treasure trove of experiences, and I am sharing my experience to encourage you in case you are going through a deep and dark pit. If you find this video helpful, please remember just to press the like button, do subscribe so that I'm encouraged to share more and more videos. I appreciate your setting aside time just to watch this video. Thank you. Thank you very much.